day 31 of harvest. First up, I need to unload 2 trucks into the dryer, and then I need to load them back up with dry corn so we can get some stuff hauled out of here so we can fit the last field in. This truck has a lot of Red Dog in it. Greg is hauling the 3rd load to Poet now. I am going to unload wet corn off of the combine and the grain cart and add that to the dryer now. We have just a handful of rocks. Just a handful. Now some of these got picked up and we were not good about deleting them off of here. We need to do better at that next time. I swear this harvest should be sponsored by frozen burritos. This has just been my go-to lunch and dinner very often whenever Tanner isn't home. Good job at meal prepping before harvest, but I just assumed, like any year, we would have a lot of days off and then I would catch up and make more stuff then. I didn't think I actually needed to make enough food for a month because we've simply never experienced this before, and I figured I didn't want to like prep stuff way too long and be sitting in the freezer for like months. So we're having frozen burritos until Tanner gets home. And the hydraulics don't want to stay down when I push the buttons. I can force it down, but then it comes back up. And that was an easy fix. There was just a stalk that was stuck in the sensor, so just needed to pull that out. Okay, we're having an issue, but I know what to do. It won't go down, but it's because of this sensor. Now, so when I started this farm, I started over here on this side, I just picked a random spot. And look, wow, what in the world? Why do things always have to go bad while you're dumping on the go? So as we were going, things were normal. It said what did it say? I don't know, I got one code and then the header stopped running and it said chopper. Let's look at the codes. It said that I was out of my seat, which obviously I wasn't because we were unloading. I started this up really quick. Not really quick, I'm sorry. I started this on low. Okay, truck is unloaded. I'm gonna turn the dryer back on. Now the corn's pretty much through there, so I turn this back to, I think it's the wet bin. Yeah, the wet bin. Another rock I need to pick up. There's another one over here too. And this waterway kind of needs redone. There's it's pretty well washed out on the one side of it. But on the low ground, it's yielding pretty good. This is the first time we've had any sizable amount of buildup on the header. I've heard a lot of people complaining about this happening on all brands of headers this fall, just given the conditions. And of course, today I had someone ask me if I had any issues with this, and I said no, of course not. So now I'm having it right now. Okay, so it is starting to build up ever so slightly. So I'm glad I was not dealing with this all harvest like some people were. It's not hindering anything, it's just making it a little bit harder to watch it feed in. I just got a nice gust of wind and that blew pretty much all of it off again, so yay. So JD headed out, he has a meeting. George is getting swapped out with Colin. Greg's gonna go home. I'm going to fill up the truck, fill up the grain cart, and then I think we don't have any more room at the dryer, so I will then switch with Colin or take care of other stuff. I don't know. It'll take me a while to do this because I'm gonna have to make a lot of 1.5 passes and waste some time in here. Okay, this is where we switched varieties. You can tell by the way it looks. But it's looking pretty good. I pushed it a little too far. We're 98% full and I need to go through a huge dip. I was not thinking ahead. This looks pretty cool. Okay, let's slow her down. Now I think this is one of the flatter areas in this waterway. But this waterway needs worked on farther out in a different area of the field. I feel like if we were gonna drop corn, it would have been then. Nice. Okay, this will be the last load of the night because I have the truck full and I have the cart 90% full, so this will fill up this. And then Colin's working like half a mile down the road. I'll make sure he has a vehicle and or take over for him. It feels like kind of anticlimactic getting done with this because like on a good day we can do 60, 70, 80 acres in corn, depending on the year, depending on the moisture, stuff like that. But like this last field is going to drag out at least 3 days. Knock on wood, assuming everything goes right, we have 20 acres left. But it's like, okay, we've been in this 70 acres for a long time, so it'll feel less exciting when we get done tomorrow because it'll be like, oh, we only have 20 acres to do, if that makes sense. But it's also great. I don't know. I'm not complaining.
Sometimes you just have to come up with fun little ways to incorporate some fun into the day. This is called the pendulum. This is how I've been cleaning off the combine. I did this a little bit last year too. It's just, I don't know, a fun way of throwing some of that stuff off. A broom works a lot better, but I don't carry a broom around in the combine.
It is 7:07, leaving the field now. Gonna go feed the pets and then switch out with Colin and work some ground. a.m. Time to work ground. Well, I got that code twice, so I'm just gonna shut it down for the night. I'm not gonna bother with the air filter. Wait for that to be a morning issue. The dryer time's out, so I can dump 2 trucks in to the dryer. Then we're thinking we need to load out 2 or 3 trucks in the morning to make room for the rest of it. We only have 21.4 acres to go. We have a 19 even. So as we take in loads, we'll write where it's coming from and then what the moisture is and the date, just for a little bit of reference.